say something.
Say something.
Something.
That was as much as we can say.
Copy the links. It's in your clipboard, so if you need to send it.
Will you send it to me?
Sure, I'll put it.
Hello.
But are we live? Just kidding.
And I haven't forgotten about sharing the slides. I'm just trying to learn how to find files and move them right now. So I should be getting to that hopefully in one day.
But are we
Man,
live?
that one I wish was recorded. That was fire. So good.
Hopefully there was nobody sensitive though. I haven't forgotten about sharing the slides. I'm just trying to learn how to find files.
Well, I don't want to hear that.
Just wanted to make sure it was working.
Okay. You can mute me.
No. All right. Well, Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
And to those of you watching online, bless you. You may be more than we have here in number. But Abba, we just thank you and praise you for this day. We thank you, Abba, for your blessing in our lives, and we thank you for all that you've done, all that you are doing, and all that you will do. We praise your holy name, and we lift you up as the God of gods, the King of kings, and the creator of everything that we can see around about, above and below us. The uncreated one. So, Abba, there's really nothing that we could do that you're not aware of. There's nothing that we could make or build or give to you that would be enough. And yet, Abba, you've given us your Son to bring us to a place where we could have remission from our sins, where we could, through the blood of the Lamb, be considered worthy of entering into your presence and fellowshipping with you the way that it was meant to be from the beginning. So we just give you all the praise and honor and glory this morning in the name of your Son. We want to bring these songs to you this morning as a sacrifice of our praise and offering of our worship, Abba Father, in order that we may be able to come into your presence. So we thank you, we praise you in Yeshua's name. Amen and amen. Yeshua, precious Lord, sinless Lamb, we adore you, we cry, come, we call to you, Emmanuel, we invite you, Yeshua, precious Lord, sinless Lamb, we adore you, we cry, come, we call to worthy of every song we could ever sing, worthy of all the praise we could ever bring, worthy of every breath we could ever breathe. We live for you. Jesus, the name above every other name. Jesus, the only one who could ever save. Worthy of every breath we could ever breathe. We live for you. And holy, there is no one like you. There is none beside you. Open up my eyes in wonder and show me who you are, and fill me with your heart and lead me in your love to those around me. Worthy of every song we could ever sing, worthy of all the praise we could ever bring, worthy of every breath we could ever breathe. We live for you. Jesus, the name above every other name. Jesus, the only one who could ever save. Worthy of every breath we could ever breathe. We live for you. And holy, there is no one like you. There is none beside you. Open up my eyes in wonder bow our hearts, we bend our knees. Oh Spirit, come make us humble. We turn our eyes from evil things. Oh Lord, we cast down our idols. We bow our hearts, we bend our knees. Oh Spirit, come make us humble. We turn our eyes from evil things. Oh Lord, we cast down our idols. So give us clean hands, give us pure hearts. Let us not lift our souls to another. Oh, give us clean hands, give us pure hearts. Let us not lift our souls to another. We bow our hearts, we bend our knees. Oh Spirit, come make us humble. We turn our eyes from evil things. Oh Lord, we cast down our idols. So give us clean hands, give us pure hearts. Let us not lift our souls to another. Oh, give us clean hands, give us pure hearts. Let us not lift our souls to another. Let us not lift our souls to another. Oh yeah, let this be a generation that seeks your face. Oh yeah, of Jacob. Oh yeah, let this be a generation that seeks your face. Oh yeah, of Jacob. So give us clean hands, give us pure hearts. Let us not lift our souls to another. Oh, give us clean hands, give us pure hearts. Let us not lift our souls to another. Let us not lift our souls to another. Let us not lift our souls to another. Oh yeah, let this be a generation that seeks your face. Oh yeah, Jacob. Oh yeah, let this be a generation that seeks your face. Oh yeah, Jacob. So give us clean hands, give us pure hearts. Let us not lift our souls to another. Oh, give us clean hands, give us pure hearts. Let us not lift our souls to another. my busy mind and find a hiding place. Worthy, you are worthy. You're calling me to lay aside the worries of my day, to quiet down my busy mind and find a hiding place. Worthy, you are worthy. I open up my heart and let my spirit worship yours. I open up my mouth and let a song of praise come forth. Worthy, you are worthy. Worthy, you are worthy. And of a childlike faith, and of my honest praise, of my unashamed love, and of a holy life, and of my sacrifice, of my unashamed love. Worthy, you are worthy. You're calling me to lay aside the worries of my day, to quiet down my busy mind and find a hiding place. Worthy, you are worthy. I open up my heart and let my spirit worship yours. I open up my mouth and let a song of praise come forth. Worthy, you are worthy. Worthy, you are worthy. And of a childlike faith, of my honest praise, of my unashamed love, and of a holy life, and of my sacrifice, of my unashamed love, and of a childlike faith, of my honest praise, of my unashamed love.
Give us clean hands, give us pure hearts. Let us not lift our souls to another. Oh, give us clean hands, give us pure hearts. Let us not lift our souls to another. Let us not lift our souls to another. Let us not lift our souls to grow down deep, unmovable and unshakable in you. I want to be unmovable and unshakable, so let my roots grow down deep, unmovable and unshakable in you. So let my roots grow down deep, unmovable and unshakable in you. I want to be unmovable and unshakable, so let my roots grow down deep, unmovable and unshakable in you. I want to be like a tree planted by the streams of living water. And I want to be like a tree planted by the streams of living water. Unshakable, so let my roots grow down deep, unmovable and unshakable in you. I want to be unmovable and unshakable, so let my roots grow down deep, unmovable and unshakable unshakable. So let my roots grow down deep, unmovable and unshakable in you. Let it rain. Let it rain. Let it rain. Open the floodgates of heaven. Let it rain. Let it rain. Open the floodgates of heaven. Let it rain. Let it rain. Open the floodgates of heaven. I wanna be unmovable and unshakable. So let my roots grow down deep, unmovable and unshakable in you. I wanna be unmovable and unshakable. So let my roots grow down deep, unmovable and unshakable in you. I wanna be unmovable and unshakable. So let my roots grow down deep, unmovable and unshakable in you. I wanna be unmovable and unshakable. So let my roots grow down deep, unmovable and unshakable in you. And I want to be like a tree planted by the streams of living water. And I want to be like a tree planted by the streams of living water. And let it rain. Let it rain. Open the floodgates of heaven. Let it rain.
praise you and we worship you in this place, and we give you all the honor and all the glory. That everything, the events around us, Abba Father, the joy, the sorrow, the striving, the busyness, the stress, the anxiety, the happiness, Abba Father, all of it. We just rejoice in you in all things, and we set it aside now. But focus on who you are, Lord, to learn about what you would speak to us in this hour and in this time, Father God. And we just give you praise and honor and glory in the name of your Son. Amen. All right, I think with everyone here will take 10.
Gives you plenty of time to use the restroom and
Thank you, Lord.
grab some water.
Go do this real quick.
Okay.
Didn't you- is your mic on?
Maybe.
How about now? Yep.
Okay.
And Duke's mic's on.
You have to remember, it's just the four of us would be like, oh yeah.
Remember.
Hey, we are live and web streaming.
Ooh, that danger, Will Robbins, danger.
I was thinking, if ever this happens again, we need like VeggieTales. Oh, I got a letter from.
I just got a letter from.
We could read the letter. Their question is.
Yes, I love
Mickey
it.
from Boston is asking.
He says his brother sold his birthright. What does that even mean?
Yeah, sadly, what does that even mean? What? Does he smell Ben?
Oh, I bet, yeah.
Yeah, they're going crazy. It's a hard knock
It's a
life.
long drive.
All right. Do you want to do a recap
Yeah, I
just
sure can.
for fun?
Okay. Abraham prays for Rebekah, and she conceives and gives. Did I say Abraham? Yeah. Prays for Rebekah. She conceives and gives birth to Esau and Jacob. The former being a hunter, the latter staying in the tents. Esau comes home famished, sells his birthright for a bowl of red stew, Edom, devaluing his birthright. A famine is over the land, but Isaac is instructed to stay in Gerar, and the promise to Abraham is repeated. Isaac tells the men of Gerar that Rebekah is his sister, but Abimelech catches him romancing her and admonishes Jacob for the deception. Abimelech instructs that anyone that touches Rebekah will be put to death. Isaac plants crops in the land and reaps 100 times what he sowed during a famine. Eliezer travels to Nahor with 10 camels, and arrives at a well in the evening. He asks Adonai to have the... Wait, is that right? My notes may be messed up here.
Was that last week or week before?
Yeah, no, it looks like my notes are crosswise, so... Can somebody put the "we'll be back shortly" thing up? All right, well, that's the backdrop for it. we'll just leave it at that. Wow, okay. I'm embarrassed now. Was that last week?
I think it was last week, wasn't it? The camels.
Yeah, I think what happened is I started typing in the wrong... I have a file for each portion, and I think I started typing in the summary and I had them both open. So we got like a little bit of this week's, and then it jumped back to last week's. So obviously I didn't finish writing up my summary this week, which is sad. So yeah, Esau sells his birthright. It's God's promise to Isaac, right? And then Isaac with Abimelech, not Abraham. Maybe I just conflated the two.
The story is very similar,
Very
actually.
similar, I know. That's why I'm like, huh. And this is right. The Abimelech comes with Phicol and Isaac and says, "We see that the Lord's with you, so let's make a covenant." So, nothing will happen to us. Esau takes Hittite women to be his wives, basically seeming to just stick it to his family. And then Isaac blesses Jacob after the great deception, right, where Rebekah tells her son to make the stew while Esau's out hunting, covers him with like garments so he feels like Esau, and then tricks him into basically taking the blessing from him. And then Esau comes back from the field having hunted and making the stew, and is dismayed when he finds out that the blessing's already been given. But he still speaks a word over Esau, which isn't that great. And Rebekah says to Isaac, "I loathe my life because of the Hittite women." Jacob marries one of these Hittite women. What good will my life be to me? Right? Let's see. Is that about it?
Yeah, I think so.
I
That's
think so.
kind of sad.
Yeah, I think that might have been into the beginning of the next one.
Yeah, and then Jacob heads out towards Laban's.
Yep, that's right. So he gets his Act 2 coming in, right? All right.
Good fun.
Well, sorry about that. That was embarrassing.
Wondering where Abraham popped in.
I know.
there.
Well, usually I get up and go back through these on Saturday morning, and this morning just didn't happen. And then, so I guess the Haftarah, right, is for Samuel, just the story where David and Jonathan arrange the signal for whether or not Saul's going to want to try to kill David. He doesn't show up for the New Moon Festival, and they have the servant boy go and fetch the arrows as kind of the prearranged signal to tell David to flee. And then Malachi 1-2-7, which is quite a bit. That's the sum total of my notes. Ish.
Yeah, it's funny because I don't know what has happened over the years. Maybe we're in Colorado, but this portion and the next I have 0 notes for. Oh, this is the 4th year going now. So I don't know where we were. Imagine late April, we would probably been in Colorado.
Yeah, according to the Google Photos.
No, according to that, we were in Colorado.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Hundreds weekend, maybe.
No, it's February. Trying to think why we would be there in April. Soccer. The tech team. Well, way back. I don't know about last year.
Habit. He was moving to Germany, so we decided to get
He
him.
was in Germany. That's what it was. Yep. All right. So, yeah, this is all kind of new territory in a lot of ways. But the interesting thing is just, I'm trying to understand like the origin of sibling rivalry. What does that get birthed out of? I mean, with these guys, it was in the womb even.
Yeah, I mean, Alba told her, you have 2 great nations inside of you. The older will fall to the younger. And so that was at birth. There was, or in the womb, before birth, there was the turmoil between the two. But then it was fed by the parents. One parent chose
One
one
and one
kid, and
parent.
the other parent.
Well, and that's
chose
why
the
I'm
other kid.
curious, even like with us with sibling rivalry, is there like a time window? It's like me and my brother separated by 4 years. There was never really like we weren't competing for the same things at the same time, I don't believe.
You may have not. He may, but you're the older one, so
Could be.
Usually the older one doesn't compete for the younger one.
That could be true also. So, but it does say that Isaac favored Esau and Rebecca favored. I mean, it literally uses that language. So there is kind of that piece, and I wonder what it means to favor, because I know you have like interests that align, so you could have a little more connectivity, I guess, with a certain parent.
I mean, you could possibly even see just sort of along those lines of interest, but Esau is out hunting. He's out in the wilderness. If Isaac's out, doing things, farming, hunting with him, whatever, while, Jacob's back at the tent with his mom, that it just, maybe it's not quite faction, but, almost, right? Like,
Yeah.
because it is pretty interesting, right? I mean, to the point where she, to pull off the deception for the birthright has no problem, like, all right, come here, buddy,
Yeah.
Everybody know this is what we're gonna do.
And here's this secret.
We're gonna do
Your
this
dad
to your
has
dad.
heard your voice for a long, long time, but now we're going to use your voice with, just the whole scheme.
Mm-hmm.
It
No,
uses the
no stone unturned in that
the
plan.
skin of the animals to fasten to his neck and his arms. And then, yeah.
But even the little thing of Isaac having the taste for game, it says. So Esau prepares, goes out, and actually goes hunting. He's in the same house where Rebecca walks out and gets it from the pen.
Because she took one of their, I think would have been one of their
Goat,
sacrifices.
maybe. Yeah.
Or
But
one
it
that,
could have been something that was off limits.
yeah, that, it was part of their herd. As opposed to Esau was an actual hunter.
He didn't just go to the grocery store.
Right.
He's like out there, those alone TV shows, in the Alaskan wilderness, raining, wearing a tank top and some shorts, sharpening his knife.
I'd also like to point out in the desperation of what you will do when you are hungry.
Mm-hmm.
So in desperation, Esau was hungry
So you take it.
and gave up his birthright, and and be like, thinking that that's not a big deal. He was probably starving. It wasn't I had just had 2 meals and my 100-calorie snacks that I've had 3 times, and it probably been a while, and he was starving. So in desperation, what people will do for food, and you see it even before people will prostitute themselves just to have a loaf of bread. Take whatever you need to take. I'm this hungry. But then to see that it's the same, it's a meal that is prepared for to give the blessing. It's just kind of what we will do in our desperation.
And even, you don't see, like, Jacob doesn't, like, his brother comes in, right? And it's not like he's, oh, man, oh, yeah, you look like you're starving, bud. Here's some food. Like, let me help you out. It's more like, oh, yeah?
Give it to me.
All right. Yeah, you can just see there's not exactly like a compassionate relationship, but compassion between the two of them.
I think parents can very easily do that. They can pit their children
Against each other.
Mm-hmm.
Unknowingly, not like, okay, we've got a scheme. You take this kid, I'll take this kid, and then we'll make sure that we divide the family. But I think it's just if you don't put effort into not bringing that division will be there.
Well, and it's such a huge level of deception. She even goes so far as to say, he's straight up like, what if he figures out it's me and this curse is going to come upon me instead of a blessing? And she's like, let the curse fall on me. Like, yikes. That's, yeah, it's such a level of deception.
That's how desperate she was to have it.
Yeah.
Think, how would it have played out had she just been obedient?
Yeah. Well, it's from when they were born. She was told that what the situation was going to be, and it's almost like Abraham and Sarah. Well, we heard this promise, and we're not really seeing it come forth.
So let's help you.
So let's see if we can kind of get in and reinterpret or kind of make this actually happen.
Have my nurse maiden
Mm-hmm.
Ishmael comes forth. Let me help you along, God. You said it, therefore I must need to do something to make it happen. And I think you do need to do something, but walk alongside him, not.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah, it's he's instructed me. He's like, hey, you know, I'm about to die. Go get your bow and arrow, go hunt food, come back, make me a meal, and I'll give you the blessing. You know, there's also not really any time. I mean, I guess she could have maybe said, no, waited for him to leave and said, here's the deal. And they had that discussion.
Yeah, we better pray about it.
You know, and intervened then instead, concocted this, you know, scheme of sorts. And to me, it's always just like a mystery. Like, was she prompted in some way to do that, or you know, was this taking it into her own hands? Was it just falling in line with, you know? I mean, yeah, he supplants, right? I mean, it happened. I have no. It's a mystery to me.
Yeah.
It's always one of my least favorite parshas too. Usually, I get to this one, I'm like, ugh. And I don't know. But the interesting thing so at least for me personally, like, because I don't like this. I listened to some like 119s and some other stuff, and just maybe there's something in there. But then the thing that the Lord spoke to me through this one was, because, you know, to me, it's of course you know, Jacob's the good guy, Esau's the bad guy, right, in the story, the way we think of it. And so probably the reason there's that dissonance is what the good guy seems to be acting in such a, you know, deceptive manner here and things, and it's not doing great stuff. And the bad guy doesn't, you know, he didn't really seem to be like a bad guy in some ways. He just likes to be out and hunt. And the Lord kind of, like, what I felt like he was showing me was it's very much how we are as people in terms of where you, I can't talk today apparently, right? You know, where your treasure is, basically. And so it was almost like, the Lord's like, well, yeah, you're no different than Esau when, you know, you go out into the world, you're working, you go to your job, you're out there doing things, you're doing it of your own strength, you know, you're not hunting game or whatever, but you're in the world. Esau is someone who goes out into the world, he works, he hunts, he brings in things. You can almost see like him, you know, his father being like, yeah, you know, why can't you be more like your brother Esau? He gets out there and hunts, and you know what I mean? And whereas, you know, you see Jacob more just like kind of in the tents, kind of, you could see him almost like, you know, under, you know, hanging on mom's apron, you know, not really wanting to go outside. You know, the story that they tell in like the, you know, like from the rabbi's perspective was he was in the tents learning Torah and all that stuff. And, I mean, maybe, but it almost represents like the difference between somebody who is not thinking in terms of worldly things, like he favors being in the shelter of the tent and that sort of thing. And so it was basically, for me, it was like, you know, how often do you act like Esau, you know, out there to get provision for yourself instead of being, you know, more like Jacob? And yeah, there's this deception, there's what seems like just outright sin in terms of lying, and I mean, he's bearing false witness, you know, pretty much completely. And but there's a redemption arc to that, whereas Esau, you know, he has no respect for the birthright. He has no respect for those things. But it's, why would that matter? I'm out hunting. And,
yeah.
And then the Lord further in the part of Malachi chastised me on that same thing, and it's, you know, it's basically talking about the people bringing their offerings, but the Lord, you know, it's empty, it's hollow. You know, a son honors his father and a servant his master, but if I'm a father, where's the honor due me? And if I'm a master, where's the respect due me? It says, Adonai Zava'ot to you, Kohanim who despise my name. And you ask, how are we despising your name? By offering polluted food on my altar. Now you ask, how are we polluting you? By saying that the table of Adonai doesn't deserve respect, so that there's nothing wrong with offering a blind animal as a sacrifice, nothing with offering an animal that's lame or sick. Try offering such an animal to your governor and see if he will be pleased with you. Would he even receive you, says Adonai Zavaot? And it's the notion of, you're giving me, you're just sort of going through the motions and giving me a little bit here, and I don't want it. Would you do that to your boss at work, is basically what it's saying. Like, no, he probably wouldn't. He'd probably kick you out of his office if you gave him what you're giving me. Ouch, dagger to the heart. But really, it's almost that kind of it's Esau and Jacob in a sense, the worldly versus like which one is your treasure in, right? The worldly things, and God saying, you're not even giving me like, what you do half baked at work. I don't know. That was what I got out of it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah.
Because it's we don't really have an appreciation or an understanding of what's actually happening in real life. Mm-hmm. We're so disconnected. Not even, I think it's less of being a disconnected element as opposed to we are so heavily connected with how we think things are that we bend everything into that. And even when we start to just turn away from it a little bit, we're like, oh, look how righteous I am. That one little splinter, I haven't been able to peel that off, and now everybody's going to notice that I
earned this.
I'm really dialed in now.
Yeah, I'm going to have profound things to say. I'm going to make a difference. Yeah.
Yeah, but definitely Jacob, for whatever reason, did have kind of that long game perspective. Mm-hmm. He had like an understanding of what's important to some degree. And of course, this is a huge sowing and reaping type thing because and again, like you were pointing out, is this clean, straight deception? Was he just being obedient and honoring his mom and doing what she said, even though it was in the wake of, whatever the story is there? Right after this, go to Laban's house and find yourself a wife, and then, it's completely folded back on him twice. Mm-hmm. So, it's that sowing and reaping type deal. He put this in the ground, and this is what he's going to get out.
Yeah, that's true, right?
And
it's
then
the exact same thing.
Yeah, and then you fast forward into him standing in front of Pharaoh, and he's like, "Man, my life stinks."
You have
no idea.
I mean, even when they, later on when he meets back up and he's just like giving Esau all this stuff.
Right.
Please don't kill me. Please don't kill me.
Sending
please
all the
don't kill me."
herds, people,
Yeah.
take some people.
Put the kids in order from slave women to the one he loves.
And it's interesting because I think it plays out that way in a lot of ways. For my brother and I, rivalry in a sense, we're constantly at each other's throats, just that sort of thing. And then, I move off, then he moves off, and then like a while later, right, we sort of get to know each other again. And I'm not saying it's not like a Jacob Esau situation, but there's very much that like, we were young and dumb and angry and all that stuff that we like fought over or were mad about, or even if we had like, I think there's even things where we can both say, yeah, it was unfair how that situation went down, or mom and dad did do this but they didn't do this and that sort of thing, but what does it matter now? And you can almost, Esau almost seems to sort of be like, what's it matter? Yeah, okay, no, I've got a bunch of cities.
I got all my stuff.
Got a bunch of Hittite grandchildren now.
And an Ishmaelite.
Things are things are good. Yeah, right. Like, yeah, whatever, bro. Like, why don't you come with us, man? Like, it'll actually be nice. It'd be like the old days. Maybe you can make me some of that lentil soup. You know what I mean? Jacob's like, no, that's okay. I think I'll stay busy. It's funny.
It's funny.
Because, yeah, I mean, it's these real people just, you know. I think we tend to think of them as, like, because they're the patriarchs, that they just had this
It
Perfect.
should have
You know.
all gone well.
Well, and when you read like
every day.
the commentaries of old, they're trying to wrestle with this stuff. They're like, well, they're perfectly righteous people, so they try and frame all these crazy stories instead of them actually just being people.
They screwed up. They sinned. They were wrong.
And I think Jacob had to pay for a lot of stuff throughout his life, which is when he ends up in front of Pharaoh. But what Abba had said did go forth, and it's not just like an easy pass through Jacob in order to get it there. He had to pay the price
So there was a price that was paid.
at a huge level in order for that to be birthed out on the other side. And then Jacob's sons.
I was just testing you. Then Jacob's sons.
No, then Jacob's sons end up. You're like, oh, these guys are all perfect, also. Like, what? I was like checking them off the list. Okay, you're not. Nope.
Yeah.
All right, you're not. Okay, here we're gonna settle on Judah, I guess. We had to jump down to level 4 in order to find somebody that was actually going to be the
Semi-righteous.
firstborn to carry this on.
Let's just throw them in a pit. Let's sell them. Let's make some money. And it just,
Yeah.
but I mean, even Jacob, you know, Lord actually put his hip out of place. It was like, and you'll walk like this forever and ever. I mean, there's just so many things that cost him had his mother just done it.
The right,
Right.
way.
I mean, just if you can just kind of picture him, the doors opening, and here comes Jacob with his limp and just kind of making it all the way up to Pharaoh. You know, it's like that long, awkward walk, and everybody's just waiting. You're like, can somebody help the guy?
This guy's really slow.
He's like, you have no idea.
Because they were thinking to open the door, it'd be some grand, like Saul, big king standing there with the crown. Oh, I'm patriarch, and here's this old man coming in, dragging one foot, you know, like Festus or something.
Well, and to apply it to our own lives, you know, we can either do it Abba's way and trust him, or we can reap what we're sowing, which is not good.
Well, I think how do you actually respond to hearing clearly, supposedly, and then it not happening? Or you're like, okay, well, I probably ought to make this actually start going forward, or else maybe I really didn't hear. And then you start playing that whole game of, did I actually hear what he said? Was I obedient? You know, did I just make that up? And since it's not coming to pass, and I don't want to be looked at as somebody who doesn't have it all together and can't really hear, and have to go circle back around and be like, oh, by the way, remember I heard that a long time ago, and turns out it's probably not going to come to pass. Or how long do you camp on it? How long is an acceptable amount of time?
Well, I mean, Abraham and Sarah, right? You know, they had the promise there as well. Sarah's like, well, tell you what, take my slave woman, because you need a son, right?
Now, even Rebecca was barren for 20 years
Yeah.
before this actually came about. And I guess I don't think there's any record of them having any other children in that fold.
It kind of reminds me of Adam and Eve having Cain and Abel. It's like the same thing, but switched.
Yeah. I don't know. Wonder why parenting is so difficult.
Because we're
Broken.
wrapped up in our own issues that we can't even look to see what Abba wants to do because we want to do it our way.
That sounds right.
And I still think too, like the other side of that is like, okay, well, you know, yeah, we made many mistakes along the way, but you know, the very first parents ever, well, the first kid killed the other one, and then you go through successive story, and reading these, like, they really were parents dealing with kids the same way that we were, and you know, it wasn't that they walked around every day just like the phylactery and the, you know, glow around them, halo, whatever. You know, the kids all were perfectly ordered. And, you know, we're going to synagogue now. You know, and yet still, it's the story of everything leading up to Messiah that came out of this.
Yeah.
It's still the chosen people. There's hope for us when we screw up, I guess.
Yeah.
That not even just for us, but even for the story that's going to go forth from the kids we've raised.
Yeah.
Right? That somewhere along the way, there's a heritage, and hopefully we didn't screw it up so bad. I don't know. That's
Yeah.
I remember thinking that same thing. Well, you know, Cain and Abel, you know, Abel got killed, so I guess our kids haven't killed each other yet. That's, you know.
Did something.
Got it.
And they're one step away from, you know, they've been in the garden, right? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Interesting.
It is interesting. Those Canaanite women.
How could you with those Canaanite women? And then he's like, oh, I guess I'll just go to Ishmael and pick up one of his daughters.
Yeah, that
Maybe
way I'll
that'll be
keep it in the
pleasing.
family because he overhears his parents making that comment. He's like, "Oh, I have an idea. I'll make them like me now, and I'll get back into their good graces, and then I'll probably get that blessing again." Which it kind of, this concept of a blessing is still, it's something I've been chewing on for years, and effectively these are just words that are being said. So,
But it comes the truth. I mean, it comes. There's power in the words.
it's like it's an impartation that is going to carry forth. It's not just you're a winner. Oh, we love you so much. You're probably going to be great, and we really. Oh, it doesn't matter what people say about you. You are special.
It's like just like Benjamin, you are a ravenous wolf. Searching.
Thanks, Dad.
Yeah. On the prowl. Okay. Yeah, so that whole blessing thing is just. We have it in a book where we can see it play out. You know, where do we have it documented that we can see? You know, we can see when we plant a squash seed and we get lots of squash, we can see that. But other things in our lives, you really don't make the connection that because I did this, this happened. Because I didn't do this, this happened.
Yeah.
And so it's just to be able to, you know, I think what blessing are we speaking over our children? That is from the Father. That is who they are and what's going to come forth. The good, the bad, the ugly, all the above, and how it's going to play out.
Yeah. You see that with Reuben and Jacob, you know, okay, well, let's start the blessing ceremony now. Everybody come on in. Now, Reuben, you slept with my wife. Therefore, and it's just like,
The whole family's all.
what?
I know.
What? They're like, where is this going to go?
Springer. Up next, we're going to hear about.
Could you imagine the other 11? Like,
Yeah, they're all.
What is he gonna
oh,
say about me?
man.
It's all gonna come
I
out.
called that out, didn't he?
One is, it's those things that are discussed after somebody passes away. It's like with the will reading, you're like, it goes through it, but it.
Yeah, this will reading was before, it's like,
We're gonna
out of
air
his
this out
mouth.
right now.
I mean, even Esau, right? Esau said to his father, have you but one blessing, my father? Bless me even also. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. And Isaac, his father, said to him, Behold, away from the fatness of the earth shall your dwelling be, and away from the dew of heaven on high. By your sword you shall live, and you shall serve your brother, but when you grow restless you shall break his yoke from your neck. Now Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing which his father had blessed him. And I don't think of that as a blessing.
No.
Same with like Reuben, so it's an impartation as much as it is.
Yeah, we have a
anything
different,
else.
in our culture, understanding of blessing. And people throw it around like, oh, this is all about you getting stuff and increase and favor. And like, no, this is about Abba's will going beyond you into the next level.
It's binding and loosing and
Crazy.
opening and shutting and imparting and yeah. I mean, not that I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong. Like we have a blessing over somebody. We say a blessing. We speak a blessing. You ask people to get words. But I think there's an element of, it can be a two-way street. And you've seen, I've seen people, we're on YouTube, so I won't name names, right? But who, know that there's a blessing coming up and they'll have a word and it's still in the context of a blessing, but there'll be an admonishment in there, or there will be a, this is something you have to be careful of, or, you know what I mean? And so, yeah, I agree. We don't have a bless you with riches and bless
Increase.
pow,
increase.
pow, pow, zap,
You get a car.
Yeah.
You get a car.
zap, you're gonna be, yeah. So, wild.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But then passing up your birthright just for a little something that you want here and there, you read the story and you're like, what an idiot. Are you kidding me? But then you look at yourself and how often do we just pass up our birthright? Just because
Always for comfort.
we want something now.
It's always for comfort.
Yeah.
The three. Power, comfort.
Money.
Money.
Yeah. I don't know. It kind of, I think something that we need to start bringing back up again that I kind of put down back in the fall that we had talked about. And I think now is the season where it's going to need to start getting picked up, because I've detected a pattern in how we go. It's kind of the ins and outs of summer. We come in late summer before the semester starts and we're like, okay, let's try and gain some direction. Then the beginning of the semester hits and it's everybody's scattered 500 different ways. Then we get into the fall feast and it's like, okay, I guess we've lost a couple months, but now we're maybe starting to dial in. But then, well, now it's time for the month break, 5-week break that everybody's kind of scattered again. And then let's pick it back up again in the spring to be scattered everywhere. And then we'll get into the spring feast and we'll really dial in. But that's just in time for graduation, everything to kind of unwind in order for us to start our summer cycle again. So I was making that joke when you were like, we need to do something with the podcast or something like that. I'm like, yeah, we're almost there. People are almost not busy, and we'll be able to move into it. But it was a joke because we live in that state.
We were having
Well,
that same discussion this morning.
We're about to not be busy.
It's about to be the next season where we can buckle down.
Yeah. And it never arrives because we don't take it now. We just let it sit in the future, because then if we take it now, there's an accountability. If we just let it sit in the future, then there's the hope. And we're about to do these things. And it never actually happens. Were you trying to find snacks? Yeah, good luck with it. I don't think there's anything in there. There might be some flour if you don't chew on that.
Put your face here so no one can see you. Turn it.
Who's all on there?
We don't know much.
Just Hanson.
There's like
mom.
4 million people online right now.
The Wagners.
Howdy,
She just-
Wagners.
Pop your face right there so everyone can see you.
Oh, it's all off that one?
Both of them.
Both cameras, the laptop and that one over there. So.
Peace and love.
They want to see your face.
I don't want to show
It's Benjamin.
Yeah, I'm actually trying to see what we got going here for viewers.
35 bots. So
So you
we have
your
7
tick-
people from Lithuania. Can you believe it? You know, it's like, look at all the people from China that have tuned in. We're reaching the
the masses.
Oh no! Oh, that's funny.
just by rule, China wouldn't be able to watch this, right? I mean, just if I understand how their internet works.
Yeah, that's probably fairly true.
All right.
Interesting.
You're wrapping up.
Yeah, we can wrap up. So, anything else? I mean, this is a very difficult one to get through because we know the punchline, we know where all this is going, and we're like, that's a good thing, we think. It seems like the right stuff is happening, but the methodology is just so not what we expect. You know, we would expect this is the Bible, and they do Bible things. Got a problem here?
No.
You take it outside?
I'm sweating. Quiet down.
At least like a Baptist preacher.
It was cold in Albuquerque.
It's chilly now.
I was shocked.
It was supposed to be like 81 today, they say.
Yeah,
Oh, sweet.
but then like 36 tonight.
Looks like
So
cookie.
crazy.
Yeah.
Just wait.
No, I agree though. This one's, like I said, this one's
Just
usually
wait.
I'm like, Toldot. Okay, fine.
You know,
What?
we have Abraham, he's like giving it the old college try and, you know, doing everything there. And then now we're getting into like some repeated behaviors with the pretending she's my wife kind of thing, or sister. You know,
Like, is that just common practice?
is that just what you do? You know, and
Was it that generational, right? Because it kind of set that into motion with Abraham, and then is that a generational thing, that repetition? That's
Well-
my sister.
But I mean, you know, in both cases, they go into that saying, well, yeah, okay, we've got to go into this, you know, basically they know they're going into the authority of a different kingdom. The rules may be different. And they're worried because, like, she's really beautiful.
She's hot.
And they might try to kill me so that they can take her because she's that beautiful. But then really when they go into this is my sister, and then what are they? They're like, great. So she must really have been desirable because in both cases, the king was like, her. I want her. Bring her into the court, start getting her ready. She's going to be my wife. This is it. We're going to... And I agree, like there's a lot of like backronym, like trying to fit this into the narrative with some of these guys and their behaviors. But some of it as well sort of carries that people knew they were in the presence of someone who was a patriarch or was, you know, because, you know, God, I think, had put that on them in some ways. Like it's, you know, when you're around somebody who's just really anointed and
Yeah.
really has a mandate and has a, mantle, right, of authority, and you can just sense it, you know, when someone's walking in that greatness of authority. So I'd have to believe that's maybe true of these guys to a certain degree, because otherwise, you know, how many people come and go from these different towns? You know, it's not like they just walked in through the gate, stopped at the market, and the king was like, hey, check out those two who just came in. Man, look at her. Bring them in. I want to. Somehow they end up in the presence of the king.
Right.
They end up in the presence
Somehow
of
they just end up in meetings.
yeah, like, you know, to the degree that the king's able, you know, they get introduced. Like, he's having to be introduced to the king or ruler of these places to introduce her as his sister. They've been received as guests to the royal palace, right? I mean, so in that context, you could almost, like, they know they're headed into a situation where they're going to have to deal with palace intrigue, and he comes up with this, let's just do this ruse and maybe we'll be okay. And then gets away with it, right? God, you know, starts causing problems, and they're like, okay, something's really wrong. It's like, you know, something's really wrong, so we need to pray through and figure out what's broken or there's a hole in the wall, we don't know where it is. The kings are like, something's off spiritually. And then, turns out that's his wife. Oh, man.
What did it say?
You would've-
Saw them from a distance.
Romanticizing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like,
Frolicking.
that's not your sister!
But then other things like these little interjections, he like goes into these people's places, and I'm sure they're all planting their gardens and stuff, and Isaac throws him a little garden, and it's like, you know, big like super productivity, and they're all like, 100 times yield. What's up with this guy?
Enough that, like, right, the servants start stopping up the wells,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
You're like, we'll get him, and then same thing happens with Jacob with Laban, you know, the husbandry and everything.
Yep.
It's just on him. I mean, kind of like you're describing. So, and Abraham the same way, you know, he's take it. Okay, we're laid back. What? They took my nephew, and then all of a sudden,
yeah, like
okay.
150 people goes and rescues them and
Yeah.
trashes everybody, brings back a ton of spoil.
right? Like, don't mess with that guy.
Nope.
It's like Rambo. Leave him in the woods. Let the guy go.
Yeah, right. But I mean, even to the degree, right, that you have Abimelech and Phicol coming to these guys and being like, you know, and this is a king, right? He's got a whole territory, right? He probably sees the numbers. There's got to be some reputation that goes with that.
Yeah.
You know, like, if people know that Abraham went and rescued Lot and wiped out a bunch of people, they're like, you know, there's got to be that kind of like, don't do it.
Yeah.
I know you've got like a huge army, but okay, so they go to, we know God's with you. And you made this comment to me a few years ago at IV, and it's just really stuck with me. How sad that they're not like, so God's clearly with you. How do we get in on this?
Yeah.
They're more like, just let's make a deal here that, you know,
Don't rock the boat.
we heard about Sodom. Like, we don't know what you had to do with that, but can we maybe have a deal that that's not going to happen to us? Like, if we're good, you know.
Yeah.
It's just wild, you know. Like, yeah, okay, we'll make a deal. Yeah, you know.
I guess.
Hand me your sandal.
And to have that sort of presence about you, and to see firsthand the stuff that's kind of under everything you do, and then go and do things like this, and you're like,
Oops.
if God is with you, like Abimelech recognizes, why didn't you just ask him? You know?
Right.
Really?
Yeah. It's like I said, it gives me hope because I know I'm gonna do dumb-headed, screw-up stuff like that more often than I'd care to say, and you know.
But even, you know, for somebody who is obviously walking under that anointing, if you will, to still have things like, Sarah, Rebecca, and Rachel all being barren as a thing, you're like, really doesn't compute. If these people are kind of operating at this level, wouldn't you want to populate the earth with a lot of them if you're sitting in God's seat? You're like, hey, we could take over if we just let them keep churning them out.
It's really not till Jacob, right?
Yeah.
And even then, it's...
And only 2 come from the one that he initially set out for.
But I mean, like Hittites, Philistines, Canaanites, they're all multiplying like crazy.
It's like idiocracy. We decided to wait. Gonna get a copyright strike on that one.
Oh, that's funny.
Do you want
Anything
to do
else?
the Aaronic blessing?
Do it.
The Aaronic blessing.
Sure. Was there anything else we want to talk about?
No,
We're good?
we're good.
Finishing up, I guess officially on time. We have like
Damn.
this unofficial end time of 1:15 now, but I think initially our end time was at 1. But we don't get started till 10 after because of the 5-minute break. That takes 15 minutes. So
We don't always start at 11 either for the worship.
Yeah.
So it's-
we just have a little bit of a cycle back. So yeah, we want to read it off the.
Yeah. So I've asked Billy
King
to
James.
start doing the Aaronic blessing to close us out.
Oh, I thought you said ironic blessing, which is I thought what we were talking about here.
Ironic blessing.
Like, so Reuben, you. Yes, Dad, yes.
There will be a sandwich named after you. That's the ironic blessing.
No.
I'm not worried about a copyright strike on that one. I'm worried about the
Lightning strike.
Get an actual strike on that one.
That's strike 2, Daryl.
No. I'm gonna walk.
It's like whammies, you get 4 of them.
Uh,
All right.
red whammies. All right. May Yahweh bless you and guard you. May Yahweh cause his face to shine upon you and grant you favor. May Yahweh lift up his face to you and give you shalom. Yeshua's authority.
Amen.
Amen.
I'll take it.
To our viewers online, thank you. Have a blessed day.